The Las Vegas Raiders are gearing up for an exciting matchup against the Kansas City Chiefs, and this one is particularly significant for Chiefs fans. There's a long history of rivalry between these two teams, and it promises to be a thrilling game. Patrick Mahomes, the Chiefs' star quarterback, is coming into this game with an impressive 6-0 record. He's determined to keep that winning streak alive, especially since he hasn't lost to the Raiders since their last encounter. Adding to the drama, there have been some playful jabs exchanged between the teams. From funny troll videos featuring Kermit the Frog to Antonio Pierce referencing the Jordan rules, where he hinted at putting extra pressure on Mahomes, it's clear that both sides are fired up. Plus, there are some intriguing updates about the players that I want to dive into, particularly Antonio Pierce's comments about Desmond Ridder. Let's jump right into it. The last time the Raiders faced the Chiefs, the Raiders pulled off a stunning victory. They completely dominated that game, putting Mahomes under pressure and forcing him into some costly mistakes. Although the Raiders struggled offensively, their defense truly shined, leading them to victory. That loss was a wake-up call for the Chiefs, who went on to have an incredible season, ultimately winning the Super Bowl. Fast forward to this season, and the Chiefs are on fire with a perfect 6-0 record. In my opinion, this is one of the best Chiefs teams we've ever seen. They not only have an elite quarterback in Mahomes, but also a solid overall team. Their defense is performing at a high level, and their wide receivers and tight ends are stepping up, doing their jobs effectively. Even though Mahomes isn't throwing for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns every game, in fact, he has more interceptions than touchdowns this year. The Chiefs are still winning. Now, could the Raiders be the team to hand them their first loss? We'll have to wait and see. Recently, Mahomes was asked about the Raiders and their surprising win last year. Some people believe he took a shot at the Raiders in his response. He mentioned that the loss served as a wake-up call, reminding the team that they couldn't just show up and expect to win. They were so focused on the playoffs that they overlooked the Raiders, who proved to be a formidable opponent. Mahomes' comments have sparked debate. Some fans think he was subtly criticizing the Raiders, implying they aren't a strong team. However, I believe he was simply acknowledging that the Chiefs underestimated their rival.
On the other side.
The Raiders came ready to play and showed they could compete. Additionally, Mahomes was asked about the Jordan rules that Antonio Pierce mentioned. Pierce talked about how they planned to hit Mahomes hard whenever he tried to run or throw, similar to the strategies used against basketball legend Michael Jordan. It's clear that both teams are ready for battle, and this game is shaping up to be a must-watch. In the lead up to the game, there's been a lot of talk about how to tackle Patrick Mahomes, similar to how teams used to defend against basketball legend Michael Jordan. Antonio Pierce, the Raiders coach, has hinted that they plan to apply some extra pressure on Mahomes, making sure to hit him if he tries to run or throw. This strategy has stirred up quite a bit of buzz, especially after Mahomes discussed it on the Max Crosby podcast. There were even whispers that Pierce might face some consequences for his comments, as it's technically legal to hit Mahomes during the game. But Mahomes wasn't just asked about that. He also addressed the infamous Kermit the Frog video. You might remember that Raiders safety Trayvon Moehrig brought a Kermit puppet to poke fun at Mahomes, and it certainly added some spice to the rivalry. Let's take a moment to hear what Mahomes had to say about all this. When asked if the Kermit video and the talk of how to stop him resonated with him, Mahomes replied, "I think just knowing that the competitive spirit they have will match ours. It's going to be a fun football game, and we'll see the best from every player on the field. The best team will win." While he didn't directly address the jabs, you could see in his expression that he's ready for the challenge. If the Chiefs come out on top in this matchup, expect plenty of chatter from Mahomes and his teammates, including Travis Kelce. They're likely to have a lot to say about the Kermit video and the Jordan rules after the game. I wouldn't be surprised if the Chiefs come into this game looking to make a statement and run up the score against the Raiders. For Raiders fans, this is not the time to think about tanking the season, especially not against a rival like Kansas City. The Raiders have a chance to show they can compete, just like they did last year when they gave the Chiefs a tough fight in both games. If they want to secure a win this week, they'll need to be at their best. Fortunately, the Raiders have some good news on the injury front. Antonio Pierce mentioned that both Jacoby Myers and Max Crosby took rest days recently but are expected to practice today. If they're healthy and ready to go, the Raiders could put up a strong fight against the Chiefs. The stage is set for an electrifying game, and fans on both sides can't wait to see how it all unfolds. It's exciting to see Jakobi Meyers and Max Crosby back in action. Max looks good after his rest day, and Jakobi, who missed the last 2 weeks, has returned to practice. Having Meyers on the field is crucial for the Raiders. He's one of their top offensive players, and the team needs all their best players ready to compete. Right now, the Raiders' standout offensive trio includes Alexander Mattison, Jakobi Meyers, and Brock Bowers. For the Raiders to succeed, they need these guys healthy and ready to make big plays. One advantage the Raiders have this week is that the Chiefs have struggled to cover tight ends. Many tight ends have had great games against them, which could play right into Brock Bowers' hands. The Chiefs often use a too-high shell defense, which can leave their linebackers covering tight ends. This could be a big opportunity for Bowers to shine. The Chiefs do have a strong defensive tackle in Chris Jones, who can disrupt plays, so the Raiders need to be prepared for that as well. For the Raiders to win, their quarterback must step up and deliver. Even if he's making short passes, those need to connect. Gardner Minshew can make those quick throws, but the receivers need to turn those into bigger gains. Max Crosby is also expected to play, even after taking a few practice days off. His presence on the defensive line is vital, and I'm hopeful the Raiders will show up strong against the Chiefs. It's crucial for the Raiders to not overlook this season. Antonio Pierce emphasized this in his press conference, stating they're focused on winning games. Some fans might suggest tanking for a better draft pick, but that's not the mindset the team should have. Looking ahead, the upcoming draft class has some questions around the quarterback position. Early reports had several quarterbacks ranked high, but as the season progresses, opinions are shifting. Some scouts are now saying there may only be 1 or 2 first-round quarterbacks, which could impact the Raiders' strategy. If the Raiders finish with a mid-range pick, they might miss out on top prospects like Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders. It's essential for the team to focus on winning now, rather than worrying about potential draft positions later. Winning against a rival like the Chiefs could change the momentum for the rest of the season, and that's what I hope to see. The Raiders have an interesting decision ahead regarding their quarterback situation. While they could technically draft Shedeur Sanders if they don't end up with a top 3 pick, the focus should be on winning games now. For the Raiders to attract top coaching talent like Bobby Slowick or Ben Johnson, they need to demonstrate that they can win more than just a couple of games this season. If they finish with only 2 wins, those potential coaches might look elsewhere, especially with other job opportunities opening up in the NFL. The landscape for head coaching positions is shifting, and teams like the Patriots, Jets, and possibly the Saints could be looking for new leadership. Coaches will consider not just the money, but the potential for success with the team they join. If the Raiders want to secure a promising head coach, they need to show they're a viable option by stacking up some wins. Now, let's talk about the latest update on Desmond Ridder. Gardner Minshew is set to start against the Chiefs, which isn't surprising, but Ridder being named the backup raises some eyebrows. He's only been with the team for a few days, and it's questionable whether he's ready to step in if needed. If Minshew struggles and throws multiple interceptions, the Raiders face a dilemma. Do they stick with him or turn to a quarterback who just joined the team? In my opinion, it would make more sense to have Carter Bradley as the backup instead of Ridder. Bradley knows the playbook better, and if Minshew falters, it would be wiser to put in someone who is familiar with the system. Having Ridder active could be a risky move, especially if he's thrown into a tough situation without a solid grasp of the playbook. Antonio Pierce has mentioned that they're not asking Ridder to be the savior right away, but there's an underlying hope that he could turn things around. However, if he's thrown into the game too soon, it could backfire. The Raiders need to be cautious about setting any quarterback up for failure, especially with the current coaching situation. Pierce's decision-making has raised some questions, and while he may have a vision for the team, the choice to have Ridder active could be seen as a gamble. If they're not careful, they could end up repeating mistakes made with other quarterbacks in the past. As the season progresses, it's crucial for the Raiders to focus on winning and developing their players without putting them in untenable situations. The future of the franchise depends on making smart decisions now, both on the field and in the front office. I hope you enjoyed this breakdown. If you did, consider subscribing for more insights, and I'll catch you next time with another video.